I'm going to finish up all the videos tonight, all done now. We're going to talk about the 2-year-olds. You know, the updates, I don't think any of them are going to be very shocking to anybody. There's some horses we're going to or have turned out, some horses that are on their way back soon, some horses that have had great years, some horses that have had okay years. We're going to get right to it. Atranet. No, she's not first. Why does this thing keep doing this? So stupid. Allie's got grit. Had that curb. We had to have cryo the other day. You could see it was bothering him. You know, the horse came out of the first turn on a mile track and touched himself and made a break. It's bothering him. So Jim has had it cryoed since, and hopefully it won't be 100% for his next race, but it'll be a lot better than it was in his last race. Arrowhead Hanover is coming in sharp as attack. Gave him a week off. He's raced awesome all summer long. Excited to race him in this final on Thursday. Excited to race him Jug Week also. He's going to race in the Standardbred. That'll be a lot of fun. And I think his season ends with like the Keystone Classic or something. But he's had a tremendous year and really, really happy for all my partners with Arrowhead. Atrant, she's not ours anymore. She's down in Minnesota. One of our clients did still own 1%, and Dr. Rucker is a client of ours. So we're happy to bring everybody the updates on her. Very happy. I mean, I knew she would go down and destroy them in Minnesota. I mean, you know, I would have loved to keep her in Kentucky, but no issues at all with her going there. I wish them all the luck in the world. She is a really, really nice filly. 480 East. Okay, I would have been tempted to go that way. My bad. I'm coming back from Michigan. I'm not familiar with these highways. I never come this way very often. Aunt Lily racing Tuesday in a great spot. A lot of people asking why the Buckeye. Well, we're just keeping our options open. If she goes out and decimates the Buckeye division, and so does Freedom Hill, what would be wrong with one racing in the Sire Stakes final, one racing in the Consolation, and at the same time racing in the Buckeye final? Neither of them are guaranteed a spot in the final right now, but given their talent level, I'm sure with one start more in the Sire Stakes, that would do it. So my plan is, at the very least, see how they do. If they both go out and win on Tuesday, which they still have to win. There's no gimmies. If they go out and win, then there's a conversation to be had. If, say, Freedom Hill gets locked in, or Aunt Lily, something happens, and one of them doesn't win, maybe neither of them win. We just focus on the Sire Stakes. The easiest path would be if one won and one didn't. You're like, okay, win the next Buckeye, try to secure a final in the Buckeye, race in the Buckeye final, race in the Consolation, race the other filly in the final. Everybody's happy. That was the plan. But we have to keep our options open, and that is exactly why Aunt Lily and Freedom Hill are in the Buckeye on Tuesday. One's like 6-5, the other one's even money morning line. We're in a good spot, put it that way. What's this thing doing? Bluebird Tuxedo Hill still out in the field. His blood work still come back a little iffy. I have my reservations about this horse. You know, obviously my take on it is really simple. He comes in when his blood looks perfect, and we're going to have to stay on top of his blood. I've never really come across a horse that has some sort of blood issue or disorder of that young age, that time won't heal, that they just can't get over. And it has been a problem. That is his problem. So we want to make sure that he is 100%, his blood is perfect when he comes back, and then from time to time we will check in and make sure it stays good. But for right now, it's not 100%. It wasn't 100%. It was a real problem, and we are working on it. Blue Ventura, put him out sharp. He's going to come back at this horse. You know, I don't want to make comparisons. I keep, throwing around, oh, time is on my side, we brought it back in. This is almost the exact same trajectory. The only difference is Blue Ventura was a better 2-year-old. So I have no idea, does he have the depth, the breeding, the will to do better that Time Is On My Side had? Who knows? We're going to find out, though. He went out sharp, and I expect he'll come back in sharp. Cadeau is almost ready to go. We're aiming at a Jug Week start with him. We'll prep him before then. But his next start will likely be Jug Week, I would imagine. Captain Incredible, we decided to give him a short rest. His knees were still open, and this only stems from the fact that he is a gigantic, very strong, very fast colt. And when you look at him, you're like, wow, what a beast. But you have to remember, that's still a baby. That's still a 2-year-old. And if you continue to push and push and push, you look for fire, you'll find it. And that's the whole thing, is that I just don't want to go poking the bear. I don't want to be looking for trouble with a horse that very well could be one of the best horses we ever had. He still has to become that horse. But if you extrapolate all the data you have of him right now, he very likely could be that horse. He always had a great attitude, great work ethic, very, very good breeding, great gait, great attitude. The horse just has everything you need to be a good horse, and there's no sign of him not wanting to be. Just be careful. And that's what we're trying to do with Captain Incredible. Century Legion is in on Tuesday. I did make a shift back over to Dominic's barn. Harry just wasn't having luck with the horse. He had a lot of stuff going on. We have some horses. We had Rock Shining Star coming back from PEI, and we're going to have more horses going to Harry and Dominic also in Mohawk. But we got to have the right ones, right? I think you guys understand what I mean. Can't just go look at Rock Shining Star. Very, very good horse. Looked very ordinary on Saturday night. Just not ready for the Mohawk Company. The transition from him from the Meadows victory down to a half-mile track was adequate. But the transition back and even further to the left going to a 7/8 mile track and the different style of racing did not translate well with him on Saturday night. I know that James said, well, if we do this and do that, and Harry also, but I'm not wasting more starts to see if he can do. If he's going to be one of these horses that's just going to ride that ladder, I hate that ladder, and I don't want to ride it. I want to have horses that can do consistent good work at the racetrack and have a consistent class to race in. I don't like the ladder up and down all the time, and with Rock Shining Star, I don't know if he can do that. And we already know that the deciding factor in all this is very simple. We know he can win an Open at the Meadows. He can be competitive every week in an Open at the Meadows. If the Open doesn't fill, we can always bring him back to Mohawk and race him. It's a 5-hour ship. Stake horses do it every single week. Century Legion, Chicago Hall is good. He's going to be racing in the gold on Friday. Now, I did notice one thing. James will be listed on him, but I know that my Friday's a little soft. And if my Friday's a little soft and James isn't going to take him or isn't going to Grand River to drive him, well, I will. But James will still be listed first on him for now. Cleveland Masha, is she a good horse? No, probably not. I don't know. I'm going to let her, she overcame some lameness to make her way back to the races. We kind of been racing her into shape. Her second start was much better than her first. Does she have a ceiling? I don't know. There's so many variables and unknowns with this filly. We're just going to have to sit back and watch for now. We'll see how it plays out. Another horse, I didn't even talk about Country Dancing. She is in the Stallion Series final this week also. So good luck to all my partners and her. Dancing by Myself will come back in. Here's a horse I think I am going to send back to Ontario. Train him down on a bigger track. I think will be better for him. Yes, he's going to have to learn how to corner, and we can work on that, but he doesn't have to work on it every single day. And I think just moving him over to Ontario will make the most sense. Fire and Shine, she's a decent filly. I was torn. Jason and I had a great conversation today. Are we going to race her in the next Buckeye? She's not really good enough, but she's sitting 20th right now, which means a decent mile this weekend gets her into the Buckeye Consolation, which is where we want to be with her. Think she can be a useful horse? Let's let her be a useful horse. That's my take anyway on our girl Fire and Shine. Foxy Seaside, just mental with her the whole year. She's just been mentally short. And I think, a couple of more starts. I was happy with her race the other day. It felt to me like an end of June, first part of July race. So we do got to get a couple of starts into her to help her come around, which we'll happily do. Just going to take a little bit of time, that's all. So like I said, I would suggest 2 to 3 starts, and then we'll kick her out in the field. If she goes out and wins next week, we'll likely move her out to the field after that. But I would like to see 2 or 3 more starts from Freedom Hill. Foxy Seaside. I'd love to see 2 more starts. Also 3 or 4 from Freedom Hill. She's got a full slate. You pitch her last race. You had that thunderstorm. The lights went out. It was pouring rain. Jason thought she tied up, and she did. She'll be fine her next start. Gaslight Hall, one of the most peculiar storylines of the entire season. He started late, did okay in his first grassroots race, and then he had this gap in his schedule. And I thought, if we took him down to Kentucky and raced him in the top level, just one division. If he could grab a 5 or a 6, then we bring him back to Ontario, finish out his Ontario schedule. I believe that 5th, if he got it, would be enough to get him in the $400,000 final. And by the time it comes up, he'll be a much more matured, stronger horse. He'll have another 2 or 3 starts into him by then. He'll be somewhat peaking as a 2-year-old, I think. But everything would have to go right. And it did. He is in the final in Kentucky. Now, he has to win because we have to miss the last leg in Ontario. He has to win the grassroots on, I think it's Monday or Tuesday, to secure a spot in the grassroots final. And they have a consolation this year too. But just the whole dynamic of it, it worked out well. But I mean, just being in the 400, who cares? You got to go get some of it. So hopefully he does. Anyway, a very, very interesting storyline with this guy this year. Gorgeous package, just been a beautiful filly. That's why I'm coming here to race tonight. 9-hole in the Sire Stakes, but as I explained to Greg, had a great conversation with our analytics department. Gregory, he called me and we talked about Gorgeous package, and a 3rd secures a consolation start, or a 4th. 5th might even get you in, but you'd have to race in the next leg also. I would say she's one of the best Buckeye fillies in Ohio, and if we could find a way to get in the Buckeye in the final, great. It's not lost on me also that her 1:54 was impressive her last time out. Now, can she beat the Sire Stake fillies? I don't follow them close enough. I can give you a good idea after tonight, and we're not actually in a bad spot. All I have to do is make sure the 10 horse doesn't get around me. You have 3 valid, very good horses leaving out also from the middle of the gate. Just dump one of them in front of you, follow it first over, second over for us, maybe third over at the very least. You're going to get a good crack at them. And that's what we're going to do tonight with our girl. Grand old chap, huge update here. We've been waiting. Everybody, is he any better? Is he any better? He is. I trained him in the race bike the other day, which is so rare. He's nowhere near race bike ready. But I trained him in the race bike because I wanted to put a gate and pull on him, and I wanted to be able to switch the hobbles quickly if I wanted to. I haven't out-trained him. He trained a very good mile, 240, I think. Which, when I was done, you can see the clay starting to mold with this horse. I don't know how good he'll be, but the horse I trained the other day, I would be surprised if I can't take a look at that and say, that horse will race someday. At some point. I believe he will. I have no idea what he'll be or how he'll do it or what he'll look like. He looked good the other day training, and that's the first time I can report that. So a huge step forward. Grand Slam Dio, just a huge step forwards. 54-3 the other day. What a nice filly. She is going to be a nice horse. Has to take a 2-year-old mark. It would be a travesty if she didn't. But she's got a tough spot tomorrow. She got some bigger races coming up. We're going to have to let it play out. But what a nice filly she's turned into be. Green Glitter, not so much. Just an over the, meat and potatoes, run-of-the-mill, okay filly. She chooses to be. She chooses to put out 90% every week. We're just going to have to deal with it. It's the way it is. I told you guys this could be worst case scenario. Every week I talked about how beautiful she was and how well she trained. Every week it was always with the preface, beware, because she may not have the depth we need her to have. I only said that because I've seen a couple of these Father Patricks like her, and I've seen this movie before. That's not to say that she's a bad filly, because she's not a bad filly. She has talent. She just trotted 56 and a piece, 57 the other day. She'll take a mark as a 2-year-old in Kentucky or otherwise. She will take a mark as a 2-year-old. I think I'm moderately comfortable saying that. I think she will. We'll see. But she has shown that she also doesn't have what I like to call, and what we talk about sometimes, is the eye of the tiger. It is sorely missing from her repertoire. So we'll see how Green Glitter finishes off her year. She's a decent filly. That could be a good filly if she wanted to be. Jim Marie, she's a good filly and wants to be. Eric and Kathy worked diligently on her, got her squared away. She raced tremendous the other day. She races like that again and finishes 1, 2, 3. She could find herself into the final, but she is going to have to. 1 or 2 would do it. 3 maybe not. Excited to see how, maybe even one, actually, now that I'm saying it. Be excited to see how she does tomorrow. High hopes we'll leave her out for another couple of weeks and bring her back in, just a little freshen up and race her throughout the fall. I like this filly. I think she's getting better. Again, how deep is she? I have no idea. It's getting a little cold in here now. I have no idea how deep she is, but she's she is a decent filly. I don't play nice. He'll be back into another horse we're going to race in the wintertime. Probably give him another 3 weeks off and then bring him back, start him back up, point him towards the wintertime of racing. Leggy, don't jump over this. We got a couple here. I'm a trucker. Been in 233, training down and looking much better. Again, this is a horse. Somebody said, is he going to find anything in Michigan? Ice fishing? I don't know. He's not going to find anything to race. I can tell you that. The stakes are going to be long over by the time I'm a trucker's ready to go. But we'll get him. We'll get him going. I'm Ready Too is back in jogging. It looks great. He filled out very, very nice. Looks great on the track. Going to be happy to see this guy train down. He was one of my quiet favorites training down. Just did everything right. Looked good. And very happy with what I saw. He came in looking like a matured rookie the other day. I know where we're at now. We come in the other way. This is the exact opposite way I thought we were coming in. Leggy, she'll come back in this week and start jogging. Was injured, had that little chip removed in her sesamoid, left hind, I think. No, left hind for sure. She's fine now. She'll be back in jogging. We'll get her ready also. Manhattan Money, I said to one of my partners the other day, when he wins, then he can go out in the field. He's just worked too hard not to take a 2-year-old mark. And I've been happy with him. I'd say we'll give him another 2 or 3 races, but from looking at the program, he may end up graduating on Wednesday, I hope. We'll see how that plays out. Melisandre's out in the field. Going to let her mature. I'm trying to weigh our options, saying, what are we bringing her back in for again? Or what are we going to try and race her for? We're going to bring her down and race her in one overnight in Kentucky? Sure, I'd love to put a 2-year-old mark on her. I would love to. I just don't think it makes the most sense. So we're going to forego that and focus on her 3-year-old season. Memento Mori has been great down in Kentucky. Very happy with him. He also races here in a couple hours. There's a horse that is sitting on a win. That goes without saying. His soup is been boiling for a while, and I think tonight could be the night. But who knows? It's a big field. It's a big crew. We'll see how I can tell you this. I was a little bit surprised Scotty took him. One of Linda's in there, and loyalty being what it is. Linda has a big barn, and she's super loyal to Scotty. He's always loyal to her, and I'm just glad that he stuck it out with Memento Mori. It means a lot. Mountaineer Prince trained great again. I think you're going to see a very good mile from Mountaineer Prince this week. I've been happy with him. Disappointed. I feel bad for the horse. Somebody said, maybe he's a little sour. He is not sour. He is not lazy. He has a good work ethic. He just couldn't get over those tracks. I can see it plain as day. I warmed him up in Ludington and watched him make a couple of breaks, change his gears, tinker with him, just trying to get him in a comfortable spot. Couldn't. I trained him the other day, 2.5 last half in a minute. You couldn't make him run if you wanted to. That's not to say you can't go and make a break. I didn't say that. I just said the other day he would make a break. I would be surprised if he made a break this week. My Wicked Heart. I don't really know what to do with My Wicked Heart. I can tell you what she's worth right now. $0. Really tricky situation to be in with her. Not super tricky, because she's never going to be worth a ton of money, but she is worth some money. She's decently bred. She can go a little bit. And I guess at this point, you have two options. Absolute fire sale and sell her and just take whatever you can, which there's a very valid argument to do that very, very thing. Or give her a little time, bring her back, and hope that she can mature into a better horse with some softer classes in the fall and winter. Now, we just told you that we rested a bunch of horses. Now, those horses, I felt, had a reason to be rested, and I don't think the other filly meets the mark, so to speak. But those are only two options. So I guess, for now, rinse and repeat and see what happens. Never Lose Felix is back in. I'm interested. in this horse. Very, very interested in Never Lose Felix. He showed some ability. Clearly had some soreness issues. His feet bothered him a bit. His knees bothered him. His stifles were still big and wide open. He was growing and gigantic by the time we turned him out. I'm interested to see what this horse does now that we have him back. I don't know. I already went through her. Oh, he'll know. Again, the vet said, Anthony, exact same thing with Captain Incredible. If you push forward, she might end up hurting herself. And although there's a wide berth between Captain Incredible and Oh He'll Know, very similar things on a regional level, I'm not going to risk it. I just think she's too nice a filly. She's already trotted 58, raced great, jogged in 2-1, I think, at Northfield. She's a nice filly. And I want to allow her to become and stay a very good 3-year-old. So we're going to give her all the time she wants. She does everything right. She doesn't wear any boots. She doesn't wear any poles. She doesn't bother anybody. She's just a very smart, very useful filly. And I want to make sure that every single one of her parts is working perfectly the next time she rolls behind the gate. Pelican Al, we're training him down now, trying to get him. He does crossfire. It is a problem. And we've tried a million different kinds of shoes. I'm sure we're going to have a ton of people say, did you try this? Most definitely the answer is yes. We will get him there. He's coming, but it's a process, and it's one that's taking a little longer than I'd hoped. But at the same time, I'll have a little time in Ohio this week, also a little more time to be stationary in the barn and work on some of these projects that have been ongoing for a while, and see if we can't get them squared away. Princess Dream. Yeah, Princess Dream's a nice filly. The other day, you get away 6, they go in 58, they trot a pretty good last half and quarter, that's what you're going to be, 5th or 6th. So she got the grassroots this week. I do not expect her to get away 6th. I do not expect her to be raced easy. I expect her to be raced. And I'm certain she will be. Same thing with Resolve Indeed, the next one up. A little flatter last start. She was a little bit sick, obviously, scope sick. She's coming back in now, a little sharp, feeling better. Let's see what these fillies can do this week. Rose Run AJ. He just can't catch a break, this guy. He did in drawing a super light field for the maiden win, which we knew he was probably going to win, but then just comes right back out and draws 8 again in the Buckeye. This guy is in jeopardy of not making the Buckeye final, and I think it's mostly due to post position draws, truth be told. So we'll see what we can do with an 8-hole with AJ this week. Not very happy about this one. Rose Run Alexander, she has been a little flat and has been drawing good. No complaints there. We're going to make a few little equipment changes on her and have a real quick look at her blood again this week. She was a little bit sick 2 weeks ago and has not rebounded the way we wanted. So we'll see how she bounces back this week. In Scioto, I believe. Rosetta. Much better on the psychotic scale of 1 to 10. She was about a 14 the week before. This week, she was about a 5.5. Now, Jody's driving her this week also. I will talk to him about Rosetta and give him the heads up on her. She was good. She was manageable and raceable the other day. She's coming in on a flat line, so you can race her in a much more conservative, cerebral way. I think Jody will get along really, really well with her. She sits at the bar, rinse and repeat every single day until I get a phone call saying, you know what, that filly's sound. I have no idea when that'll be. Might be a week from now. It might be 6 weeks from now. But that's when she will come back in. And I really have no updates other than that. She's eating. She's feeling good. She's out in the field rehabbing that ankle. Light work. Small paddock. Paddocks will get bigger. The leg will get smaller. She will get sounder. And then she'll come back. And that's the plan for She Sits at the Bar. Southwind Ibex. Lazy. But again, we're asking him a big, gigantic animal to train on a half. He's another horse might head to Ontario. I am skeptical of his work ethic and his attitude, but at the same time, he was an extremely big horse training down and a lot of meat on the bones. I made great time. It was 20 after 8, and I pulled in. I'm literally an hour early for the race. I'm going to go get some gas, so I have it for the way home. That's what I'm going to do. What do we got going on here? We have ambulances and trucks and fire trucks. We have a lunatic in the bushes with his car. How do you even get there? You couldn't park there if you tried. It's like somebody just brought him in on a helicopter and dropped him. I don't even know how you could get there. Wow. Speed of Sound. She'll go to Ontario for sure. She's too big. I like this filly too much. She's going to go over to Ontario for sure to train back down. There's nothing wrong with that. Trevino on Green's already in Ontario. Now, again, if he comes in and they're struggling with him, we may bring him over here for a little bit just to see if we can tighten the screws up in different places and get him trotting good. But for right now, Trevino and Green's out in the field. Westland Warrior just finished second and third and 54 and a piece. Head of trotted in 55 and 1, 55 and 2 with a very good last quarter. I know Scotty is skeptical of this horse. And somebody said, well, why is he driving if he doesn't like the horse? Not that he doesn't like it. The horse has let him down a couple of times, pacing, making breaks. He put him in a spot to win. Now, the day they had a bunch of recalls, he put him in a good spot. He didn't race as well. Raced very good tonight, and I think he probably is a player in that final. I think he has to make the final, doesn't he? He's got like 2 second, 3/3. He's got to make the final. And I think he's a player in that division. So we'll see. And then what a lady, what a night. Raced great the other day, third and 57 and a piece. I thought she raced good. Setting herself up for a good fall in Illinois. And then Woodmere Betcha. I'm waiting to get the ultrasound results back on her. I'd like to see them start her up. Margot, one of our clients, made a good point and said, is she going to stay in PEI or are you bringing her back to Ontario? That's a great question. I think she'll stay in PEI for now. I think PEI races for quite a while. And I don't really know if we're going to just stop with her, or if we're going to, say, okay, her attendance good, we're good to go, let's push on. That will be up to Jamie Smith and the vet clinic, the veterinarian in charge of her. So with that, I'm going to let you go. All your videos are done now. 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and racehorses. Your opening's done. I'm going to load all these videos when I get back tonight to Windsor. I'm not going to abuse my data. I'm going to load them on the hotel's data. I'm going to write the email while I'm waiting to race my first horse. Your header email, so that Kelly knows by tomorrow morning, as early as she wants, she'll be able to load your videos. It has been a great week, a great weekend, highlighted by a win with Time Is On My Side, but not nearly as important as 5 wins from the Guelph Royals and Oliver. So pleased with the way they're playing, so happy for them and happy for him, and excited about what goes on tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, they have to lose twice to lose the title, and they only have to win once. They're playing Leaside, who they already beat once 2 days ago, or yesterday. They beat them once. If they can muster a win, and this is a tough team, the Leaside team, if they can muster a win on Leaside, I watched a kid on Leaside hit a home run. And now, we haven't hit a home run. This is a tough thing. These are 11-year-old boys. To hit a home run is tough enough. This kid hit it. And the parks are back-to-back. And there's a walkway in between. He hit it right up against the other fence of the other field. I don't know how many feet it was, but it was a hell of a drive. They got to face them tomorrow. 2 home runs they hit in that game back-to-back. So they got some sluggers on that Leaside team. But Guelph's been playing great. Been playing very, very smart baseball. Error-free ball. And hopefully they can pull it out tomorrow. Win, lose, or draw, it's been a great weekend. It's been a great year in baseball and in racing. And hopefully we keep both going in the immediate and further down the road future. Take care.